Join me as I dive deep into the issue of corruption and take on the challenge of uncovering how it ruins a nation's soul. Corruption is one of those buzzwords that we often hear about, but rarely take the time to fully understand. At its core, corruption is about the abuse of power for personal gain. It's a cancer that eats away at the very fabric of society, making it a problem that affects us all, whether we realize it or not. We're all impacted by corruption, either directly or indirectly, and that's why it's crucial we talk about it. Corruption comes in many forms, and it's not just about politicians pocketing money. Bribery is one of the most common types, where someone pays or receives a favor in exchange for a service. Then there's nepotism, where family and friends get preferential treatment, often at the expense of more qualified individuals. Embezzlement, extortion, and favoritism are also prevalent. These practices erode trust in institutions, making us question the very systems meant to serve us. When institutions are corrupt, people lose faith in their leaders and the system as a whole. Imagine going to a doctor who's more interested in lining their pockets than your health. That's what corruption does. It turns the institutions meant to serve us into tools for personal gain. This not only undermines trust but also creates a culture of dependency and entitlement. The effects of corruption are far-reaching. Economies suffer as funds meant for public services are siphoned off. Infrastructure projects stall or are poorly constructed. Essential services like healthcare and education suffer, leaving the most vulnerable to bear the brunt. Countries like Somalia, South Sudan, and North Korea are often cited as examples of where corruption has ravaged the nation. In these places, corruption isn't just a problem, it's a way of life. People are forced to engage in corrupt practices just to survive, creating a vicious cycle that's hard to break. Let's take a closer look at Venezuela. What was once one of the most prosperous countries in South America has been crippled by corruption. Mismanagement and corruption have led to severe economic hardship. People stand in line for hours for basic necessities, and the once thriving economy has been reduced to rubble. In 2019, the U.S. imposed sanctions on several high-ranking Venezuelan officials accused of corruption and human rights abuses. This move was a clear indication of the international community's frustration with the situation. Corruption in Venezuela didn't just affect its economy, it also led to a massive humanitarian crisis. The lack of access to basic services like healthcare and food led to an exodus of its population. Neighboring countries were overwhelmed with refugees fleeing the chaos. The tragic story of a nation that once had so much potential but was brought to its knees by corruption serves as a stark reminder. Corruption's impact on Venezuela should caution other nations about the dangers of unchecked power and greed. In summary, corruption is more than just a financial issue, it undermines a nation's soul and collective future. It's about trust, fairness, and equality. When we allow corruption to fester, we risk losing the very essence of what makes us a society. What are your thoughts on corruption? Share your experiences and insights in the comments below. If you haven't already, check out my previous video on how corruption impacts economic growth for more insights.